Hello everyone and welcome to today's presentation on a key topic in developmental psychology called the ecological system theory. I am Samson Conrad.
And I'm Christopher Yopin. Today we'll be discussing how Yuri Bronfenbren's ecological system theory can help us understand child's development with examples and evidence to show how this theory works in real life.
Exactly. We'll explore how this theory applies in teaching and learning and how it impacts students, teachers, and parents. Okay, let's start with the basics.
Ecological system theory was first proposed by Yuri Bronfenbrenner in the 1970s. He argued that the child's development is influenced by the different environmental systems that interacts with each other. The child is at the center and the various systems surrounds them which impact them.
That's right. The five systems Bronfenbrenner outlined are the microsystems, mesosystems, exosystems, macrosystems, and chronosystems. Let's give some examples to illustrate how these systems work.
Now let us start with the microsystem. This includes the immediate environment like families, friends, and school. For example, a student with a strong parental support is likely to perform better in school. Studies have shown that the children who receive the positive reinforcement at home tend to have high self-esteem and have a better academic performance.
That's right. Research from the Journal of Educational Psychology supports this, showing that children with supportive family structures are 30% more likely to graduate from high schools.
Next system is the mesosystem, which refers to the relationship between different parts of the microsystem. An example of this is how the teacher communicates with the student's parents can influence the student's learning. If the parents and the teachers work together, the student is more likely to receive consistent support both at home and in school.
Yes, and there is evidence to back this up. According to a study by the Harvard Family Research Project, students whose teachers actively engage with the parents show higher attendance rates and better grades.
Move on to ecosystem, which includes environment that don't directly involve in the child but still affect them, like parents' workplace. Imagine a situation where parents work long hours. This can influence the child as the parents may not have time to help the children with their homework or attend school events, leading to a lower academic engagement.
That's right. A study from Child Development found that children whose parents face work-related stress are more likely to exhibit behavioral issues at school, even though the child isn't directly involved in the workplace.
Next, the macro system. This encompasses cultural values, economical conditions, and social norms. For example, children growing up in an economical disadvantaged area often have few educational resources, which can limit their opportunities. Research from the Brookings Institution shows that the children in a low-income community are 40% less likely to access high-quality early education.
And lastly, the chronosystem. This includes the dimension of time. Changes over time like a move to a new city or a divorce can significantly impact a child's development. Studies show that children who experience major life transitions such as parental separation often face emotional and academic challenges during the adjustment period.
Now, how does ecological system theory affect learning and teaching? It highlights that students' performance is influenced not only by what happened in the classroom, but by their boarded environments.
For example, the teacher might notice that a student is having difficulty concentrating in class. The reason could be that the student is facing family problems which belong to their microsystem. This means that addressing this issue holistically through communication with the family, counseling, or providing extra support can help the student succeed.
And this idea is backed up by evidence. In 2016 study published in Educational Research found that schools that adopt a whole child approach, considering students' home environment, saw that 20% improvement in overall academic performance.
Another example is how different cultural values in the macrosystem can influence learning styles. Some cultures emphasize rote memorization, while others focus on critical thinking and creativity. Teachers who are aware of these cultural differences can tailor their instruction to better meet their students' needs.
Exactly. Evidence from the cultural diversity and ethnic minority psychology shows that students who are taught in this way that in line with their cultural values are more engaged and perform better academically.
So, how does this theory affect students, teachers, and colleagues? Let's start with the students.
Students are deeply affected by the environment. For example, a student who comes from a supportive family and has a positive peer relationship within their macrosystem are more likely to thrive. On the other hand, if the student is exposed to bullying at school, this negative interaction in their macrosystem can lead to lower self-esteem and academic struggle.
Yes, and studies show that students facing peer victimizations have higher dropout rates and increased level of anxiety. That is according to research published in the Journal of Adolescent Health.
As a teacher, the ecological system theory teaches us to be more emphatic. We are not just teaching a subject, we are shaping lives. Teachers who understand the student's behavior is influenced by the factor outside the classroom are more likely to address underlying issues instead of simply punishing poor performance.
And for colleagues, this theory encourages collaboration. When teachers share insights about their students' backgrounds, they can work together to support students more effectively. For example, teachers who know about a student's home situation can collaborate with school counselors to provide the necessary resources or interventions.
Evidence from the American Journal of Education shows that schools with a strong culture of teacher collaboration report higher student success rates. As a teacher can be pull resources and insights to a better understand their students' needs.
Now, let's talk about how this theory impacts students' growth and development. Children are developed holistically, meaning their emotional, social, and cognitive growth is influenced by all the systems they are part of.
For example, a student who receives positive reinforcement at home and in school, micro and mesosystem, is likely to develop strong self-esteem. Study from the Society of Research in Child Development show that students with supportive environment tend to develop better social skills and emotional resilience.
Conversely, a child who experiences instability at home, like divorce or financial hardship, may struggle academically. Research has shown that students facing these kinds of stressors often have trouble focusing in class and are at a higher risk for behavioral problems.
One study from the child psychology and psychiatry found that students exposed to chronic stress at home were more likely to develop attention issues and experience delayed cognitive development.
This shows how important it is for teachers to be aware of this environmental influence. When we take the time to understand what's happening in a student life outside of school, we can provide the appropriate interventions, whether it's emotional support or academic accommodations.
So, what are the benefits and challenges of using psychological system theory in education?
One of the main benefits is that it helps us understand students more deeply. We can identify external factors that might be affecting their academic performance. For example, if a student is falling behind, rather than assuming they are lazy or disengaged, we can look into their home life or social environment to understand what's going on.
There is plenty of evidence supporting this. In a study by the National Center of Education Statistics, students who were identified as at risk based on their home environments and provided with additional support were 50% more likely to improve their grades compared to those who didn't receive any intervention.
Another benefit is that it encourages collaboration between schools, families, and communities. When parents and teachers communicate effectively, students receive consistent messages and support, both at home and in school. This consistency can help students feel more focused and secure.
But there are challenges too. One of the major challenges is that it's not always possible to address all the external influence. Teachers have limited time and resources. Not all families are willing or able to engage with the school.
Yes, cultural and socio-economic differences can make this even harder. For example, in low-income communities, parents might be working multiple jobs and may not have the time or energy to engage with the schools regularly. This makes it difficult for teachers to bridge the gap and provide the extra support that is needed.
Exactly. And another challenge is navigating cultural difference in the classroom. Teachers may struggle to balance various cultural norms represented in their students' home with what expected in school. For instance, students from cultures that emphasize respect for authority may struggle in the environment that encourage open debate and self-expression.
That is true. And in terms of evidence, research from the Journal of Multicultural Education highlights how cultural misunderstandings between teachers and families can lead to miscommunication and even conflict, which can negatively affect a student's development.
Another challenge is that we can identify certain issues outside of the school. We might not always have the tools or resources to address them effectively. For example, if a student is facing trauma at home, a teacher may recognize the signs but may not have the professional expertise to provide the necessary emotional support.
Yes, and that is why it is very important for schools to have access to counselors and psychologists who can step in when needed. But not every schools have those resources, especially in underfunded areas. A study from the American School Counselor Association revealed that schools in low-income districts often have an extremely high student-to-counselor ratio, making it difficult to provide adequate mental health support.
Despite of these challenges, the benefits of using the ecological system theory in education far outweigh the difficulties. By taking a holistic approach to understand our students, we can tailor our teaching method, support their emotional well-being, and ultimately help them succeed.
Okay, to summarize, Yuri Bronfenbenner's ecological system theory provides us with a comprehensive framework to understand child development by looking at the multiple layers of influence surrounding each child.
We've discussed how the microsystem, the mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and the chronosystem all play a role in shaping a child's growth, learning, and development. And we have seen how this theory applies to the classroom, influencing not just the student, but also teachers and families.
We've looked at real-life examples and provide evidence to show how environmental factors impact students, whether it's their family dynamics, cultural backgrounds, or even societal pressures. This understanding helps us as educators to be more empathetic and to provide more targeted support to help our students succeed.
Of course, while there are challenges such as addressing cultural difference and limited resources, being aware of the external influences allows us to work collaboratively with families and communities to create a better learning environment for our students.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this presentation has given you valuable insights into how ecological system theory can be applied in education.
And don't forget, understanding a student's environment is the key to understand their potential. We encourage you to continue researching on this topic and applying it in your own educational practices.
Thank you again for watching and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.